So, my name is Anahi, and for my book, I did it on Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And this book is about a dystopian future. There's a narrator named Guy Montag. His wife's name is Mildred Montag. And there's an officer named Officer Betty. So basically, this book was about how firemen would have to go around burning houses and books because books weren't allowed in that society. And basically, there was this girl named Clarice McLennan who was the neighbor of Guy Montag, and she liked reading books, but she didn't really say it because they weren't allowed. And he'd slowly go around. She'd slowly like explain to Guy Montag about books and like how interesting they are, and that got Guy Montag thinking. And Guy Montag decided that he was gonna hide books in his air conditioning, and he was kind of like a book hoarder, so no one knew because he'd be fired from his job and he'd have to burn his house down or whatever. And his wife Mildred started taking pills and having an overdose, and she consistently doing that. Consistently did that because she was like depressed, and she started to realize that Guy Montag is hiding these books. So she basically went and told on Guy Montag to the officer, which got him in trouble because Officer Betty started to get suspicious and made a call that he was gonna go and burn Guy Montag's house because he was keeping this secret. And Guy Montag, before he started to go to this guy named Faber, who was a writer, and he knew a lot about books and he'd read a lot of books. So Guy Montag went to him and he was like, can you please teach me how to read books so I understand more? Because everyone there was illiterate and they didn't understand anything. And Guy Montag even burned some Betty's house later on because of the threat that she made. And Betty shot Guy Montag's leg, and even Guy Montag ignored the numbness of the leg, and he ran away, and he used this firebomb to like throw it, and he left to this group of people who thought that the world needed books, and they were very like secretly, like no one really knew about them. And Guy Montag went to them and disguised himself as Faber, and Faber left to like another place. He wasn't there anymore. And he like joined this group and he tried to learn more about books. That's when later on he found out that his name actually meant that he's named after a manufacturing company, and that Faber actually meant like pencils because he's like a poet. He like started to understand more things. And two quotes that I analyzed was, and then Clarice was gone. He didn't know what there was about the afternoon, but it was not seeing her somewhere in this world. So Clarice died from a car accident, which he later found out, which really upset him because Clarice was one of the reasons that he started liking books and started to get more interested about them. And this quote's like very important because she's one of the people who made a great impact in his life. And the second quote was, only recently glancing at the novel, I realized that Montag is named after a paper manufacturing company, and Faber, of course, is a maker of pencils, which I stated earlier. And basically, this shows how illiterate the people were. So by stating this quote in the book, it realizes how much more knowledge Guy Montag got throughout the book until he realized what things actually meant. And to me, I personally believe this book wasn't as great as I thought it would be because it's basically a book stating that firemen had to go and burn books, and it's not good because even now in society, people are more involved in technology rather than books, which isn't great because in the book it's stating that they're burning books, which is work that people had done. So it's just a lessening, and people in that society would watch television rather than reading books, and that just wasn't beneficial even then.